The first 24 hours of Donald Trump's presidency was absolute chaos. He launched a meme coin. He did everything under the sun except for a few of his campaign promises that has the internet going absolutely crazy. And with all this, he's even talked about the potential of a Great Depression with all of the policies that the Democratic Party were going to potentially put in place. But he didn't even shy away from those when he was about to come into the office himself. In fact, some of those policies that had and campaign promises that have some people going absolutely nuts that he hasn't come through with just yet, just a measly 24 hours into the presidency. One of those being freeing Ross Ulbricht. I'll take it from him and not even me on some of his campaign promises here.
Me, on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to a sentence of time served.
So unfortunately, that promise has not come true just yet. And we've seen a lot of other crazy things out of Donald Trump and his now proposed policies. One of those big things are a big tariff increase, which the Democratic Party is already trying to sound the alarm bells, saying that these tariffs proposed would raise to Great Depression era levels. Now, this universal tariff of about 20%, an additional tariff on Chinese imports of about 60%, would spike the average tariff rate to all imports to highs not seen since the Great Depression. Now, this might seem a little crazy, and it might seem a little, oh my goodness, it's only been 24 hours. But Donald Trump has come out and said that we need to bring everything back to the United States. Now, he's also said things about Bitcoin strategic reserve. He's said things about freeing Ross Ulbricht, and we haven't heard much about it just yet. Now, granted, we're only 24 hours in, so I'll cut the guy a little bit of slack. But I do think that it is interesting that some of this, including his tariff policy, would be something that we haven't seen raised since the Great Depression era. Now, anytime you see that type of headline, you get absolutely scared, right? These things are very drastic, but we have other people on the internet raising bigger flags than me, I would say, folks. Read this tweet from my good friend Isabella. The biggest rug pull in American history. No mention of freeing Ross. No mention of a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Just oil and energy. Trump's drill baby drill policy. And even this last little dig here. Look, I don't know what's going on with my friend Isabella. I'll maybe cut her some slack, but she said, moral of the story, men lie to get what they want. I don't necessarily agree with all that coming from a man, but, it is interesting to see the internet's reaction on everything that we've seen from the president's initial run-in here and where everything's been started. Now, I want to talk about his meme coin and the meme coin craze because we've seen President Trump's now meme coin launch to significant market highs, and we're seeing a lot of money being pumped in. Now, what I think is interesting with all of this is that we're seeing just how influential Donald Trump is, because within just 24 hours, he was able to get multiple billions of dollars pushed into his meme coin. Now, they also launched Melania coin and other things as well, right? So I'm not trying to say that it is something that we should be proud of necessarily. I think it's something that, you should definitely have your guard up. But, look at what Peter Schiff is lining out here, right? It just leaves another avenue for the Bitcoin bears to come in, saying that it took Bitcoin 8 years to reach a 72 billion market cap. Trump did it in 2 days. And it's worth 50% more than I don't even know the world's largest NEM, the world's largest gold mine company. It's up 40,000% since Friday, and it's clearly much better store of value than Bitcoin of gold. Obviously, that's a tongue in cheek here, but I think that this is basically everything that we can kind of see here is just Trump's influence, right? So since the time of Trump and speaking at the Bitcoin conference and talking about, hey, there is a potential for a Bitcoin strategic reserve. He's even joked tongue in cheek that maybe we use Bitcoin and other cryptos in order to pay off, the global debt that the United States has, right? So, with that, I think, we're seeing the influence by, hey, I'm just going to launch a meme coin here, call it Trump. And then now he is, once he announces that Bitcoin strategic reserve, which I firmly believe it's still going to happen, right? I mean, if you look at the poly market odds, it's still at a 63% that it'll happen within this year. So, and we could see the chart right here where we saw this initial spike up in the recent past couple weeks. Now, the interesting aspect is we've also seen a giant dip in the chance, about a 10% dip or 13% dip in the overall chance it would happen in the first 100 days after Donald Trump had zero mention zero mention during his initial speech. And people are taking notice. Bitcoin price fell dramatically, right? But I think this is a more of a talk of, sell the news, buy the rumors, right? Where something is going to happen here in the near future. People are upset and wanting things to happen at day one. They want everything to be implemented right away, right? And I think it's interesting that after his inauguration day, Bitcoin is taking a hit simply because he just didn't mention Bitcoin or crypto in the first in his first 24 hours, right? So it got to a new all-time high of 109,000 after Trump got elected, and it fell 2% in the past day. That's where I want to take this, folks. It fell 2%, and that is making headlines. It's absolutely crazy here. And it just means that we're winning here, folks. At a certain point, it seems like, everything that we're seeing is this rapid rise of Bitcoin and the rapid rise of potential for everything surrounded Trump's presidency. And on top of that, Elon's even confirming here in this tweet that Ross will be free, right? It's not necessarily something that had happened on day one. Maybe Trump didn't full up to his full-on policies, but it's something that is going to happen, right? It's not, hey, he lied, he didn't do everything here. I'm looking at Satwise Jenks. Trump lied again. Idolaters wouldn't believe me that Ross wouldn't be free day one. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, but can never be trusted. Hey, I mean, I hear you. He didn't hold true to his promise on day one, but there's rumors going around on Twitter that he'll be freed to sometime today. So granted, maybe it won't be the first 24 hours. And I know every day behind bars is not great, but I have a feeling that he will be freed at some point today. So, I think that, this, like we have here, who has morals from All Night Hider and launches an unethical meme coin? Uncool. Hey, I mean, I completely agree here. I think that he doesn't deserve any slack for creating this meme coin. I just think I wanted to highlight the absolute influence and that Trump has over the global markets. It's absolutely insane. If you were to tell me that, Bitcoin would go up to a $72 million market cap, that 72 billion, market cap that quickly, I would have said you're lying. But, I think, he's even got control on the price. And as my, favorite musician Kanye West says, how can one man have all this power? It seems to be the case here where he doesn't mention Bitcoin in his opening speech. Everybody is equating that recent dip of just a measly 2% to the fact that Trump did not mention Bitcoin strategic reserve. But not all hope is lost, folks. David Bailey here has said he got confirmation last night. He tweeted this at 12:30 a.m., meaning that President Trump is working around the clock to get things going, right? That he's got confirmation that our EOs are among the first 200. I have no idea what made it in, but good news cometh. And then we have Shane saying, what do you mean by EOs? EOs related to Bitcoin or crypto. So although everybody's sounding the alarm bells because nothing has happened in the first 24 hours, I still think it was, and Polymarket Odds thinks it'll happen this year. I think that, the psychology of everybody wanting things to be happen right now, right? I mean, we have this society where everybody wants those quick dopamine hits after quick dopamine hits after quick dopamine hits. And we're still getting there, right? Trump has a lot of things to fix. And although we saw his meme coin have meteoric rise, we're seeing a recent dip in his meme coin as well, right? So although it, is something that this meme coin took off, 9 billion market cap, it took 2 days and it reached 72 billion, as our good friend, I'll use that lightly term here, Peter Schiff has said, is that he's that I kind of like this talk from the chat here from Chico, that Trump builds casinos. He just discovered the crypto casino. Hey, I mean, I agree with you here, where I think that this meme coin, we're seeing him and his team launch a lot of experiments with this Trump coin. He launched Melania coin. Melania fell down dramatically. And I think that is something that, it just shows that, hey, the market is not stupid. It is a free and open market. I guess I voted for Trump, but I don't necessarily like this point here, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I believe in, the libertarian principles with the free and open market. So I think that these meme coin phases will never end. But I think that, what Bitcoiners listen to the ultra rich people like Fred and Elon, wonder why they wanted Trump, because he only cares about ultra rich people. See, Rollins, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that, Trump is going to do what's best for America and bringing jobs back to the American people. If you really think that, Trump is only caring about the ultra rich people, a lot of the policies that the Democratic Party they've been in power for the past 12 out of the last 16 years, and the rich have gotten richer. The wealth gap has increases. There's the inflation's at an all-time high. So the few things, I mean, I guess I see what you say with the PPP loans, but after the PPP loans happened, which is supposed to be towards businesses, the Democratic Party still printed more money and still had a lot of, inflationary policies that, we've seen over these past 4 years. So I guess time will tell. Trump, it was not caused by Trump's money printer, because only half of the money that was printed under the Trump administration. The Biden administration printed more. So, it's not necessarily the case here. We could sit here and argue back and forth about the differences of the policies. And I guess time will tell here, right? I mean, whether you're on one side of the coin or the other, you're going to see things in the light that you want to see them, right? But I think that at the end of the day, what we have noticed is that Bitcoin take a dramatic plunge up, right? We have noticed inflation not necessarily starting year over year, right? So this is one of my favorite websites that I love to show. It's Govflation, right? So the CPI was reported at 2.9% in December. But if you look at it here, right, this is how the CPI was calculated back in 1982. We still have 10% in September, still have 10% in October, still have 10%, and it's even increasing over time, right? So you could see the dramatic difference under the Biden administration. They changed the basket of goods in May of this past year. So that gap has continued to increase, and inflation is still sticky. So one thing that does worry me about President Trump and his policies is that he likes to have low interest rate environments. So lowering interest rates causes, more QE, which in theory would not help inflation. So I think Powell's going to have a tough task ahead of him, where he's going to need to really keep his foot down in order to keep inflation at bay. Now, it's not there just yet. And I think that, it is something that we will see kind of come to fruition. Now, the best inflation hedge, in my opinion, is Bitcoin here, right? It's the most liquid it's the most liquid market on the planet, and everybody can seemingly have access to it. And we've seen Bitcoin now take a huge run in this last few months, up 60% in the past 6 months. Now, year to date, obviously, we're just 21 days into January. We only see 12%, but in the past year, we've seen Bitcoin roar over 150%. So I think that's going to continue. A lot of good policies and other positives for the Bitcoin space are going to come in here through this Trump administration. And I think there's a big year ahead. Now, I think that the best and the safest way to buy Bitcoin is the Bitcoin Well. This is breaking news here, folks. This is a new partner I've got from you. You can go to the Bitcoin Well, just bitcoinwell.com/green candle. Join me, and you have a chance to win 1,000,000 sats, folks. 1,000,000 sats going through here. That's 1,000 cold ones. If you are looking at this price of $105,000 per Bitcoin. So join in, go to bitcoinwell.com/green candle, enter your email to claim your points, and join me in the safest and most secure way to buy Bitcoin. It's truly non-custodial. So you'll buy Bitcoin and then you'll send it directly to your wallet. You can have it direct deposited if you invite a friend, and really truly have the true sovereignty of Bitcoin. It's freedom technology. And although we're seeing this meme coin phrase come in, I think that, you really got to look at how the potential for, if like Trump is saying, these Great Depression warnings that he's given off with his massive amounts of tariffs and the other, potential road bumps that we're seeing, Bitcoin is the only true and free and open market. We've seen his meme coins soar, but I think that, the Bitcoin strategic reserve is still going to happen at some point in this year. Polymarket seems to agree with me, as there's a greater than 50% chance, sitting at 63% chance as of today. So I think that these things are still going to happen. We just need to be, absolutely patient with all of this. So as All Night Hider is saying, my Bitcoin convention grows every single day. Complete the Bitcoin thesis with self-custody. Exactly. And I think the best way to do self-custody is to buy Bitcoin using a completely non-custodial wallet like Bitcoin Well. So as Dale is saying, everything eventually flows to Bitcoin. I couldn't agree more, right? At least the meme coin is an honest rug pull, but the 80% pre-mine and then selling 500,000 the very next day, that's just feeding off of people who love him like a leech. Hey, I am not vouching for this meme coin. I definitely think that this is not something that we should be, necessarily promoting or happy with, right? I think everybody is a little, sketched out. We'd rather see something like Nayib Bukele and what El Salvador is doing, buying Bitcoin, continuing that to increase over time. So Anthony Russell says there's a 50% that Trump will make a meme coin as part of the U.S. National Reserve instead of Bitcoin. Now, I don't know if I necessarily agree with instead of Bitcoin. At this point, who knows? It's tough to predict, but I think that if there were to be some sort of strategic reserve, he would maybe include Trump coin, but Bitcoin would definitely be part of that strategic reserve. Now, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Obviously, once another president comes in, following Donald Trump, I imagine they'll try to get rid of that as a potential avenue to be in there. So I think that we won't necessarily see a Trump coin strategic reserve, but the Bitcoin strategic reserve, as my good friends over at Polymarket are showing, still a 63% chance today. It's just, after not initially mentioning it, it seems like the percentage of it happening within the first 100 days is a little bit down here. But I appreciate you guys all coming in here. If it's your first time, smash the subscribe button. Smoke the like button, like my good friend All Night Hider always says, like Cheech and Chong. Tell a friend to join in on these next live streams, as I'm thinking about doing another one here later today about the Brian Armstrong interview. Well, I'm not going to spoil it all, but he was talking about the potential of what that means for for the Bitcoin strategic reserve. And on top of that, I'm releasing an absolute fire interview with Jeff Booth later today. So be sure to check out the channel, subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys in plenty of other content today. So thank you all for joining me on this early morning rip.